Hi, this is Joey Picard with Duxbury Youth Lacrosse, and this is a small presentation on elements that make for an effective station drill. Station drills are really, really critical to us in our home program where we have a lot of kids on the field at the same time. We typically have 8 to 9 players in small groups rotating between about 5 or 6 stations, and they typically last 7 to 8 minutes apiece. So we have to plan out meticulously every minute, and we have to come into that practice knowing what our station drills are going to be. And so when it comes time for our coaches to pick the the drills, we have certain factors that make it for more successful than others. Starting with the fact that they're easy to understand, and if it's something that takes you 3 to 4 minutes to set up and explain, and you only really have 7 to 8 minutes with the players, that's obviously an enormous time waste. So something that's quick, easy to set up. I like to repeat a lot of drills. That way they're comfortable with it, they know it, and you can maximize the amount of time that you have with them. I really like drills that are working multiple fundamentals at once. I never have a drill where it's just a ground ball that you roll out and you get back in line. It's usually a ground ball that turns into some form of cradling around a cone and either a pass to somebody or a shot. Not only are you checking more boxes and keeping them more engaged, but you're simulating the reality of lacrosse, which is that one skill begets another. And it's really important that we find those drills that hit multiple fundamentals. The death of any practice is going to be kids standing in line, waiting, not getting any action. So we do drills that have a lot of players in them or a quick rapid turnover. Less standing around, the better. And then there's some bonus elements that we look for, one of which is lots of running, because a lot of times as coaches, and I'm guilty of it sometimes too, but we kind of save the wind sprints for at the end. And really, it's a terrible kind of last impression that they may have. However, running is so, so important to the sport. This is a running sport. So a lot of times we're going to find the drills that implement a lot of that agility, acceleration, footwork, sprinting, recovery, anything that you can kind of hide the running in plain sight and do it more often. They're going to get that endurance and their stamina that they need to be successful in the sport. Another bonus that I like to find in my drills is ones that have a little stakes to them, a little competition. Competition is not a dirty word. It's okay that we're teaching them to be athletes that want to compete and they want to work hard in their drill, so long as it's healthy competition. And the kids tend to step up and put more into it and get more excited and engaged when there's a drill winner, even if the prize at the end is a fist bump. Finding little games in there is a really exciting way to implement your 8 minutes. And then lastly, it's not just about ground ball scooping and cradling, passing, catching, shooting, dodging. We have to start implementing at the earliest age in groups how important communication is, how important space is, how important lacrosse shape is, how to cover a field, off ball movement. So anytime that these drills even subtly address those elements, you have yourself a very, very good station drill. Other quick little tips for a successful practice. You really have to plan out every second. I usually have a central clock keeper, one coach, making sure that the drills are ending on time and starting up again. But you have no time to figure out as a group, what are we doing next? So you have to plan in advance and do everything you can to start on time and stay on time. Um, for us, this might not work for everybody, but we don't typically stop a practice to break for water breaks. What we'll typically do is ask the players to bring their waters with them and keep them station to station. And we make a really big deal about staying hydrated. So when they're not actively involved in the drill and they go to the back, they take a sip. We mandate that our players all have either the long straws or the squeezable water bottles, so they don't have to take off their helmets for that. But this again, just something that works for us. We end up utilizing more of our time by having the water stay with the kid as opposed to stopping our practice for 10 whole minutes to take off every piece of equipment they have to get a small sip. We like to take some time to explain the drill a little bit, but we don't want to over explain and we don't want to over coach. We really want these kids to build the self efficacy when they have that breakthrough aha moment themselves, when they realize that if they do this, then this happens. That ends up being much more impactful and long lasting than when the coach has to kind of explain that. Now, if they're totally lost and not getting it, then sure, it's our obligation as teachers to correct and fix those problems. But if they can kind of figure that out themselves, you have then created an engaged intellectual lacrosse player that's going to remember that for the rest of their lives. But you have to make a big deal about it. When they do make that adjustment you're hoping they make, you have to engage with them, make eye contact, big high five, well done, I see you, that level of commitment on your end to recognize that they're doing what they need to be doing, which is to kind of figure it out themselves by playing, right? Trial and error. We always end practices on a fun note. Like I mentioned earlier, not ending with wind sprints, but this is our time when we do sharks and minnows, hungry, hungry hippos. We'll do our musical chair ground balls. We'll do our relay races, something that leaves them with a smile. And the lasting impression was to mom and dad that they had a blast today. And then we always do things as a group. So we break it down as a group. Goalies are very, very special to us. So they're our field captains, our leaders. They break down our chants. And everything we are teaching these kids to do, we're teaching them to have individual successes, but in a team environment. And so we like to do a lot as a team. If you have any questions or feedback or other ideas or things you'd like to share with me, I'm very happy to have you check in and connect with me. That's my email address. I want to wish you a lot of luck with your lacrosse season, and thank you for watching.